Welcome. Today we're going to review some important application information for the 150-hour accountancy program. My name is Alex Horn and I serve as the Assistant Director of the 150-hour and Masters of Accountancy programs here at Mizzou. One of my primary roles is not only advising the undergraduate students who are admitted into the accounting program, but also coordinating the admissions process for those prospective students. I also want to take a moment to introduce my colleague, Shannon Ferguson. She is the Director of the 150-hour Masters of Accountancy programs. She will serve as the primary advisor for students who are in the graduate portion of this program. So while she won't speak today, she is going to be a fantastic resource for those who continue through this program. Now, first, let me give you a brief overview of our program. We call this the 150-hour accountancy program. This is an integrated dual degree program where students will earn both a Bachelor of Science in Accountancy and a Master's of Accountancy degrees. You'll get 120 hours minimum at the undergrad level and 30 hours minimum at the graduate level, hence the 150-hour requirement. In addition to those 2 degrees, you can also advance your education by adding on a graduate level certification here in the School of Accountancy in either assurance or taxation. Now, we are pretty proud of this program as it has been consistently ranked in the top 15 nationally of other accounting programs in recent years. In fact, if you scale us for our faculty research productivity as well as our faculty size, we actually move into the top 5 programs ranked nationally. Now, in addition to these great rankings, we have also had large success in students pursuing the CPA exam. Now, while it's not required for everyone, the program does set students up very nicely academically to consider this option. In fact, we've had highly ranked first-time pass rates for our students going through the exam process. In addition, we've also been fortunate to have consecutive Elijah Watt Sales Award winners, which is a pretty prestigious acknowledgement for students going through the CPA exam. Now, if the CPA exam is not something that you're considering, or maybe you want something in addition to that, there are other certifications that our students sometimes consider as well, such as Certified Managerial Accountant, Certified Internal Auditors, Certified Financial Advisor, and so on. Lots of options to expand and add to your academic portfolio. Now, before we get into the specifics of the 150-hour accounting program, I want to touch on a very common question that we get. This is, should I choose accounting or should I choose finance? And what is the difference? Now, each major is very popular and very worthy of consideration. So up front, we encourage you to continue doing your research. Reach out to your advisors, your professors, talk with business career services, get in touch with people in the industries that can give you more depth of ideas and information about those types of careers. So by no means do we want to speak on behalf of anyone else, but we really just kind of want to highlight a few points of consideration as you're thinking about these options, if you are thinking about these options. So particularly here at Mizzou, in the 150-hour program, you will earn both, as we mentioned, a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in this program. Now, this advanced degree can not only deepen your knowledge, but it can also provide you with an additional academic credential to help set yourself apart when you're seeking employment. Speaking of credentials, in both areas, you can pursue advanced professional credentialing. We've already mentioned a few: CPA, CMA, CIA, CFA, which is, that one actually is very popular for either industry. So more broadly, when you're looking at the accounting world, it is actually commonly known as the language of business. Now, this gives an individual a unique knowledge and skill set to maybe understand business operations in a way that maybe some of the other members of a business are just not necessarily equipped to do so as well. Accounting tends to tell a story. You understand the past, the present, and the future timeline in the financial part of a company. And so students who go through this program, they'll not only be exposed to a wide range of career opportunities, which we're going to discuss in the next slide, but it tends to give them a pretty high job placement rate, as well as some competitive starting salaries as for the industry itself. Now, in regards to the finance major, it has a bit more focus on the future part of that financial timeline. Common career trends tend to be in the finance and banking world, wealth and money management, investments, and so on. And those careers could offer a potential for higher short-term earning potential, but be careful, that's not going to be the case for every individual, every company, every industry, or every even location. In general, if you are still deciding between these 2 types of majors, we would actually recommend you apply to the accounting program because it might give you a little bit more time or a little bit more information to kind of help decide between that. And I'm going to go over that reason a little bit more in slides to come in this presentation, so stay tuned for more on that. So to talk about some of those career possibilities if you go through the accounting program, here's just kind of a run through list of some ideas. So if you're thinking about the traditional type of accounting major, you might look into, say, a tax or audit kind of job at, say, a public accounting firm, maybe an advisory practice, which is a growing trend in those industries as well. But you could also consider forensic accounting like the FBI, maybe state and local IRS, that governmental type of accounting. Private companies and corporations, for sure, those all have a finance and accounting department, so those would be great options to consider as well. Maybe you want to go into academia. Maybe you want to become a professor one day. Maybe you're looking into athletics, right? Professional collegiate athletics. Accounting could be very beneficial in that industry. Maybe some consulting work, maybe some non-for-profit companies. Maybe you want to run your own business, become an entrepreneur. The point is that these depth of industries and career opportunities shows both the range, but also the security potential that an individual can have once they go through an accounting program like this one here at Mizzou. All right, so let's jump into the admission requirements for the 150-hour program. Now here you'll find a list of what we call the check the box, those minimum requirements that all applicants need to complete to be considered a qualified applicant for admission. I'm going to break down in the following slides each one of these requirements in a little bit more detail. But it's worth noting that while some of these might look very similar to the business administration requirements for their upper level programs, there are a couple that are unique to this program. So we want you to pay close attention to some of those as well. Also, remember, all of these requirements need to be satisfied and complete by the end of the spring semester that you apply to the program. Okay, so let's jump into those 12 courses that are required for the application. You must complete both Accounting 1 and Accounting 2. Now, we're going to be specifically looking for a B- or better in both of those courses for the accounting program. Now, it does not matter where you take them. So if you took them here at Mizzou, a local community college, whether it be over the summer or dual credit high school, we can see the grades from any school, and we're going to be using the transfer grades to make sure you meet that minimum check the box requirement of a B- or better in those two courses. Okay. Now, in addition, we also need you to complete micro and macroeconomics, so Econ 1014 and 1015, English 1000, Math 1300 and 1400. Now, I know some of you might have either Math 1500 from AP credit, or maybe a dual credit through high school, or maybe you just took it straight out here at Mizzou, whatever the case may be. Math 1500 does actually satisfy both 1300 and 1400 on those mission requirements. We also need you to complete Stats 2500, Accountancy 2258. Now, we need that course specifically for this course requirement. So no substitutions for 2258. Need that Accounting 2058 course for the accounting program. Also need to finish BA 1500, 2500, and that Math 1100, which is that college algebra credit. Okay, so here's one of those more unique requirements to the accounting program. Of those 12 courses that we just discussed, we're going to be looking at a subset of those 12. And those subset of courses for this accounting application only need to have a minimum GPA of a 3.0 averaged amongst that subset. So we call this the pre-accountancy GPA for admission. And so once again, it's Accounting 1 and 2, which you need to be minus or better anyway. Micro and macroeconomics, English 1000, Math 1300 and 1400, or maybe if you had 1500, and Stats 2500. This also, we will look at any transfer grades you earn here. So once again, if you took them somewhere else, we can see those letter grades, and we will only use those letter grades in this minimum 3.0 GPA calculation for the pre-accountancy admission requirement. So just got to have a 3.0 or greater, check the box, meet the minimum requirement. Now the EDGE requirements, those EDGE points, this is going to be the same as the business administration program. Need to have a minimum of 70 total points by the end of the spring semester in which you apply to the program. So if you already have some points, great, you can keep adding to those. In fact, you can actually go over 70 if you want to, because you're going to need 200 to graduate anyway, so nothing wrong with that. Remember, all the events in the programming run through the Suitable app, so if you're not using that yet, really make sure you get on that and get that done by the end of the spring semester. And if you have any questions or thoughts about the program and you need some troubleshoot help, please contact the EDGE department. They're going to be your best source of information for that. Okay, Last but not least is that MU cumulative GPA. So just to clarify, this does include all the courses you've taken here at Mizzou, but this is actually called your University of Missouri System cumulative GPA. And so what that means is that in addition to courses you take here at Mizzou, any letter grades that you've earned from courses at University of Missouri St. Louis, University of Missouri Kansas City, or University of Missouri Science and Technology down in Rolla, those letter grades are also part of what you know as your cumulative GPA here at Mizzou. So we just need a 3.0 cumulative GPA at the minimum for this admission requirement to be considered for review. Okay, so speaking of review, when it comes to how we look at applications in this program, think of it kind of like a two-step process. We're going to look at the applicants and say, did they meet the minimum check the box requirements that we just went through? And if so, then they can be considered what we call a qualified applicant for admission. All qualified applicants for admission are then ranked based on their system cumulative GPA from the highest that one could earn as a 4.0 to the minimum standard that we require, which is a 3.0. That rank order list is how we select our class for admission. So it kind of comes down to this question, should I apply? I think you can start by asking yourself two simple questions. Do I have an academic and/or career interest in the accounting or finance in the business world? Do I or will I meet the minimum application requirements that we just reviewed by the end of the spring semester? If you answered yes to either one or both of those questions, then we would highly recommend applying to the 150-hour accountancy program. And additionally, I'd like to point out here that applying to the accounting program is not actually going to delay your progress into another business administration emphasis area as far as requirements go. You'll see on our application that when you apply to the accounting program, you will rank your programs in order of preference. So accounting becomes number one by default because it's the accounting application. And then you will select emphasis areas in the business administration program as second, third, and fourth options. So finance, management, marketing, econ. Those options will only be used in the event that you're not admissible to the 150-hour program, or maybe you choose to decline admission to the 150-hour program. So in short, when you apply to the upper level, if you're thinking accounting at all, you apply to the accounting program and rank business stuff as backups in that application. You do not also have to fill out the business administration application. You would only fill that out if you're not thinking about accounting at all. So applying to the upper level, you just fill out one application, okay? This applying to the accounting program, not only will you get to rank those emphasis areas, you're going to give yourself a little bit of time to still think about what your options are or to plan appropriately for that decision process. So we won't make our decisions until the end of the spring semester. So once all those letter grades and edge points and GPAs are finalized. So you'll have the spring semester to work with your academic advisors to help set those parallel course plans for either option, for any decision. It also gives you a little bit more time if you're, like you said, accounting or finance or something else, and you want to learn a little bit more from industry professionals. You can still have a little bit of time to do some research before a decision is given to you or offered to you. Additionally, we would like to point out or note that fortunately, for the past 2 years, we've actually been able to offer admission to all qualified applicants, including students with GPAs of 3.0 or greater. Now, please remember to go back in the presentation to understand how we define a qualified applicant. Now, for fall 2021, we are looking forward to continuing to accept larger number of students with the goal of growing our accountancy program. Now, what that means in this application, you are applying to be admitted for the fall 2021 term. So we're talking about this application cycle. Now, while we do not have a guaranteed cutoff or acceptance GPA, we would encourage all students who meet the minimum requirements, who are at all considering studying accounting or believe that a program like this could help them in their future careers. We would encourage those students to apply to our program here in the 150-hour program. So how do I actually apply? So the applications themselves will be open from February 1st to the 15th of this year. And the link will actually be found in a variety of locations. First of all, you can use the QR code right now on this presentation to access the link directly. We'll also be sending out information in the undergraduate advising newsletter, And there'll be information posted on our business accounting website, which I'm going to show you next slide. I'll kind of walk you through how to get to that. Once again, just remember our timeline to make decisions is going to come once the spring academic semester is over. And so we're looking at late May, early June to announce our decisions. We will send those via email to your Mizzou email address. So just make sure you're checking your email over the summer to get that so you can have a timely reply and response on that decision. So here is that real quick look at that website. So it's important to know that in this section, drop-down navigation bar is one of the better ways to navigate through the website. So you'll start by going to Programs and Admissions. You'll go to Undergraduate Admissions and then select Accountancy Admissions. And below these paragraphs here, you'll find a button that says Apply to the 150-hour accountancy program. Now, I know I went through quite a bit of information, so please make sure you go back in this video and rewatch any part that you want a clarification on. But in addition to this video, if you have questions, you have other resources that you can reach out to. In fact, your undergraduate business advisor is going to be a fantastic resource. So I would recommend contacting them if you're kind of having questions about how to apply, when to apply, what that looks like for courses, and those kinds of things. If you have trouble getting into one of their calendar appointments during this February 1st to 15th timeline, make sure you check out the walk-in or on-call hours that they're hosting through Zoom. That could be an option to ask a pretty quick question to an advisor and get maybe a quick answer. But it could also be where they might refer you to make that appointment or help get set up with that next appointment, depending on how in-depth your questions are for that type of situation. In addition, if you run into any accountancy application issues, maybe something's not working right, or maybe you said, oops, I applied to both accounting and business and I really only wanted to apply to one or the other. Because remember, you only need to apply to one program or the other. Since we have those backup options on ours, you don't actually have to apply to both, okay? Just contact the School of Accountancy if you run into application issues. You can see the email address listed here. We'll help troubleshoot the best we can and kind of get that cleared up. Overall, we hope this video was helpful for you in your decision-making process. We definitely look forward to seeing your application, and we definitely look forward to being able to talk to you soon. So we hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks.